production value. Thank you so much. So this week we have brought in a guest, and a guest with a difference. So if you've just tuned in, this is the Road to Thought Bubble. So this fabulous panel of gentlemen are going to be heading to the Thought Bubble Comic Festival and Convention over in Harrogate in November. And what we've decided to do as a YouTube channel is feature our kind of journey to Thought Bubble. Every week, we're going to spotlight a certain creator and just have a chat with them, one of the guests that is due to attend the event. What we're also hopefully going to do throughout the coming months is have some people come in who have an insight into what goes on behind the scenes, whether that be kind of organizers or staff. So I am very pleased to introduce a dear friend of mine, a long-term friend of mine, someone that I have been getting drunk with at conventions, responsibly, of course, for many, many years. But he is also a volunteer at the Thought Bubble event, and that is my friend, Alex Barwell. Woo! Well, you can call him Rusty. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you. How are you doing?
I'm all good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks for you all. I'm all good.
So if you've got any questions in the chat for Alex, who is a part of the volunteer team at Thought Bubble, so he basically kind of works as staff at the event. If you've got any questions as to kind of how he got involved with that, or what that entails, then get them down in the comment section below. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna steal one of the questions first. How long does this go back? Because I remember seeing you at this event probably about 3-4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So when did when were you recruited?
Oh, well, I attended Thought Bubble first time was 2008 as an attendee, and it took me 2 years going as a normal customer before I attended to a red shirt and joined the crew, in which I started off as like a queue capper and a flyer handover. I was something like 14, 15 at the time, and I've been doing it ever since then. And I'm now going 28 this year, so yeah, another 13 years of it.
That's wicked.
Don't rub it in, 28. And I love, can I just say, this whole thing about you guys being red shirts. like it's Butlins or something. That's great.
Oh yeah, we get the red shirt Butlins, the Star Trek beams as well. We're just a nice tip. We're hoping to get Captain Gold at some point.
Nice.
And like in terms of that kind of recruitment process, then, so you basically kind of had to work through different responsibilities until you kind of got to the point that you're at now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so throughout my 10 years of it, I started off as a queue capper. So I was looking after queues of people like Charlie Adler from The Walking Dead, to now currently looking after the panels and running the entire side of it, where it's organizing make sure the guests get from their actual desks to the actual show on time and they all run smoothly, and there's no chaos on that part. So yeah, I've done a bit of everything. There's not part of the actual job I haven't done right now. So yeah, bit of an all-rounder.
Guys, let's stir the pot. What's the worst customer you've experienced in the queue situation? You always get them, don't you? You always get one of those guys in the queue. Come on, spill the beans.
Well, I've got two. So I've got the people that confuse me most, and the people that turn up 3 days before the convention that are already sat out there with the chair and the cup of teas, and they'll be prepped, they'll be ready. You'll see them there, they'll be turning up the day before, 24 hours beforehand, setting up outside the door of the hall. And they're so dedicated because of who they're going to see. And every year I'm walking past the hall and I'm like, you're already here. The staff haven't even turned up. The guests aren't turning up yet. But as for actually bad customers, the ones that don't leave, oh man, the people that don't leave at the end of the convention on a Sunday, you've had all weekend to buy things. And I'm like, I love you all so much, but some want to go to bed, some want to get some rest. We've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. And I understand. Right, Spider-Man versus Deadpool, or Spider-Man and Carnage. Come on, pick a decision. You've had a weekend. You've got this. Come on, I believe in you.
What about guests? What was it, worst or best guests?
Oh, really stirring the pot now, Tom. I like it.
Okay. So, okay, what their names? But I've had one guest who basically went AWOL throughout the entire second day for a while, and this was my first few years of working there, and I was only like a 15, 16-year-old lad at the time. And I'm running around a convention playing Where's Bollywood, Where's the Guest Is, and running up to every artist I've never seen before, like, hi, have you seen XYZ artist? Because I'm kind of looking for him. He's got a queue half a mile long, and it's taking up half the aisle.
It wasn't Simon Bisley, was it?
That was one. So, but yeah, we've got some interesting ones. But
hi, Simon. Thanks for watching.
I love Simon Bisley. He's great. I've met him a couple of times at Nice Comic Con, but he is a bit of a wanderer. He's a really nice guy. He likes to have a wander.
I want to give a shout out to some new faces as well in the chat. We've got Ames, and we've got Mindfulness Magpie. Welcome, guys. I'm sure you are fans of the Rusty. But thank you very much for joining us nonetheless. So in terms of this year then, Alex, what are you most looking forward to? Have you got a guest or is it just kind of seeing people again?
Oh, apart from just seeing everyone again, obviously there's the hesitance with what's going on, but I just really want to see everyone again. But Scott Snyder's back for me, and Snyder's a big one for me. It was absolutely hilarious to meet the first time. He's really good at what he does. I've got most of his books now, and I've been following him since I met him. And yeah, I want to get more really badly drawn Batman sketches. I've got one so far off him from when he was a bit drunk, and I want to get another one to complete the collection of a Robin or something. Just keep pushing it. But yeah, I really can't wait to see him again. But also just generally see the entire thoughtful Red Shirts crew and all that. So
how does it work then? Paint the picture of the Saturday, because I know obviously it's a festival and there's events in the week, but in terms of the actual convention, like Saturday morning, what time do you have to clock in and how does it work? Do you have a briefing and then you kind of go off and do your own thing? How does it work?
Well, normally we have a pre-meet up for the team on the Friday evening just to get a heads up of who's here, who's actually on attendance, who's actually on site right now, who we got nearby. Generally in the morning, we start about 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, early start. We prep the halls if they're not already set up. Most of the time it is set up the night before, but if there's any little bits we need to do, we'll crack on setting up the tables and getting any of the new stages set up. For instance, one year we had a Wacom stall. We had a Wacom artist demonstrating as well, which was really cool, but we had to set up all his tech on the day, on the morning. But other than that, it's just welcoming all the guests and getting them in first thing. It's literally we get up, make sure the hall's set up, and then it's helping everyone set up their own halls, which is generally where we get to meet people we're going to be working with all weekend. So anyone from indie artist who's setting up their first stall for Thorable to the big names who are setting up all their final prints. It's great. You get to meet the ones you see every year. We get people coming back regularly. So I love to see Abigail J. Harding. She's absolutely phenomenal artist. I love to help her set up. She's a cracky person to meet. Richard Starkins, one I always seem to get a hold of. He always gives me a free jam donut, which is probably why I always go back to him. Nice. It's the one thing about every year, free jam donut. He loves the fact that Greg's give you £5 or something. He loves them so much.
Alex, you look like you've never had a jam donut in your life.
I have a really important question. That's probably a question that's on the tip of the tongue of all the chat. Is how drunk do all the volunteers get?
So very drunk. Oh my! Yeah. So we have
his boss is watching.
Yeah, no, that's right. They get just as badly. We get this thing called a mid-con party, which is the best and worst thing ever in the sense of it's a Saturday night party, but we're all very aware that we have work Sunday. So we've got the responsible ones who leave about 8 or 9, and then there's the rest of us who stay till about 4 o'clock in the morning with the rest of the artists and the guests partying around. Oh, it's great. It's great. You get to have some funny times. I mean, who needs sleep? We'll get that later. That's what Sunday nights are for. We'll get to the next day. We'll make it. The best thing is we've got a mutual understanding. When we're walking around the convention and you're looking at a really rough looking artist and they're looking at you like, we saw you last night at 4 o'clock.
We know what you did last night.
We were there. We were there. We saw. I always remember, Black Fraction was my favourite one. I used to bring in black coffee and I used to bring it to him and Kelly Sue. And one time I came up, just surprised him with the coffee, and he just looked at me like, you read my mind, didn't have to say anything. And next thing you know, I've got a signed copy of him saying just thank you. He literally scribbled thank you all over the cover. And I was like, well, wanted a signature, but you've ruined the entire thing now.
Yeah, I don't know how CGC can verify thank yous. We've got a great question here from the Fuzzy Dunlop, the legend that is Rusty. Are there any guests who have had big time diva antics where people requesting ridiculous things like pink M&Ms or kittens?
Oh, I've not really had anything such where we had crazy requests as such. We've got a nice bunch of artists calling it, but we do get like, it's just desk space is something that you need to be aware of. Like for first time congoers, if you're an indie person or a startup, like it's the cloths, your set up table stuff, the little things that you wouldn't think of. They're like gold dust at these conventions. If you can get yourself a nice tablecloth, it's going to disappear if you can't keep an eye on it, man. People need to keep these things like they are the most wanted things of all. Like they'll be like, oh, I've left this here, I've left this somewhere, and you're like, right, we need to find this now. So that's the one thing. You don't really get any divas.
Tablecloths. I've done nice Comic Con a couple of times, and both times my tablecloths have been pinched.
Yeah, see, like the
gold. I bought them as well. Nice black tablecloths with my logo on. Somebody's got them somewhere.
It's because Alex is on the side using it to mop up his mouth after having a jam donut.
Yeah.
A lot of people excited about certain antics. And Alex, it's got to be said, the Killer Comics crew will be there in force. And
excellent.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for that Saturday night.
Oh, we get some wild nights. Sometimes we even have the guests do musical performances. Like one year we had Run DMC at DCon, and he performed live at the convention. And I'll never forget the moment we got to see Run DMC perform live. Like that is something I'll never forget. Like that was amazing in the con exchange. And then we got other artists that are actually in a band together. You never find these things out until you see them boogieing and playing live at the show after party. It's like, you wait, what?
I'm fully expecting some Thought Bubble karaoke on Saturday night. So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just putting that out there, everybody.
I'm down.
I would do anything for love.
You'd make a good meatloaf, mate.
Brilliant, good. What, like baking one or shut your face?
Alex, payback for calling me thick.
I had it coming, all in and around my face. Andy, if you want to share our spotlight guest of the week right now using the magic of internet technology. So our spotlight guest of the week is James Tynion IV.
Tynion.
So Andy, why James Tynion IV? Tell us who he is, what he's about. Why
not? This was we done Ram V last week, and this was a lot easier to find out a bit of information about James Tynion. Let's have this discussion now. Tynion, James T, Jimmy.
I saw this on a thing the other day, and I just didn't listen.
Ross Ritchie calls him.
They had the answer.
Ross Ritchie calls him Tynion, James Tynion.
Okay, we'll go with Tynion. Okay, I'm sure. I'll let James. I apologise if it's wrong. Okay, when we high five at Thought Bubble in November, you can shout at me then. But yes, James Tynion, born 1987 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Obviously, everybody knows that he's award-winning and a best-selling author, and it's actually quite cool that we picked him for this week because of the amount of news that's been happening over the internet. You see that he's stopping his run on Batman, and he's going to his own create-your-own world, where I think you have to subscribe. I haven't looked so much into it, but you have to subscribe and all that good stuff. And everybody knows James from his current work, which is Something That's Killing the Children, is probably the main book out there that everybody's going absolutely crazy for. And I think that book has effectively given them the opportunity to kind of walk away from Batman and DC and go do his own thing and make his own money, I guess. So he studied creative writing at the Sarah Lawrence College, and that's where he was studying under Scott Snyder. And then he later became an intern at Vertical Comics, which is an imprint of DC Comics. His first published work was Batman issue number 8. And then he went on to co-write Batman Annual number 1 with Scott Snyder. And I don't know if any of you guys have read that. That's when he reintroduced Mr. Freeze, which is one of my favourite villains. He's worked in DC, obviously. He's worked in Boom Studios, Marvel, IDW. And this one caught me by surprise when I Googled it and got it, copied and pasted it from Wikipedia. Thrillbent. Has anybody ever heard of that place? Yeah, I've never heard of that before. And he runs Tiny Onion Studios. You should definitely go check out his website at Tiny Onion Studios. You get all the sort of lowdown and sign up for his newsletter as well.
I was going to say his newsletter's amazing.
Fantastic. That's where you got all the like up to date news, and you normally find that as soon as he releases that email, you'll get an update from the Key Comic Collector app based on that news that he's just released on that newsletter. So it's definitely worth having a look. So yeah, as I say, some of the books that he's released is obviously Something's Killing the Children. He's done Batman. He's doing Nice House on the Lake, which is into its third issue, which is a great run at the moment. And he's also done Wind, which is recently been optioned. But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper, guys, and have a look at some of his old stuff, similar to what I've done for Ram V. And should we just pop over to that slide, Benjamin?
Oh, you show us how deep you've gone.
I've went deep into the woods. Did you like that segment there, Ben?
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
So this is 2014, and this is a fantastic book that is really under the radar, and I don't think many people have probably read. The synopsis is there's 437 students, 52 teachers, and 24 additional staff from Bay Point Preparatory High School in Milwaukee, and they've all vanished without a trace. 513 people find themselves in the middle of an ancient primordial wilderness. Where are they? Why are they there? And the answers will prove stranger than anyone could possibly imagine. This story goes deep. The artwork is absolutely superb by Michael Dialanis and James Tynion. It's just superb writing, and it's definitely one to go check out. You guys read? Any of you guys read this at all, Ben? Tom?
No, I've not. No, I know Tom.
No?
Tom's a big fan of the Batman run. But both Tom and I kind of pick that up, don't we, weekly? But yeah, I know I've not read this.
Definitely worthwhile. Definitely worth checking out, guys. It's one of the great stories that he's done back in 2014.
Is this one of his award-winning ones, The Woods?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are like, because obviously the success that he's having at the minute, all the TV producers are looking back at the other books and seeing the stories that he's done. So it's probably a little bit of a spec book as well. The next book that I have is called The Backstagers, and this is a really cool story. So this was in 2016, and this is art by Rian Singh. And this is so when the character Jory transfers to a private all-boys school, he figures out joining the stage crew would involve a lot of just fetching props and getting splinters. To his surprise, he discovers that there's a door backstage that leads to a different world, and all of the stagehands know about it. All the world's a stage, but what happens behind the curtain is pure magic. So I haven't this one I haven't read, and I only sort of realised that he had done this one when I was doing a little bit of investigating on doing the old Googling. And this is one that I'm definitely going to see if I can pick up because it looks absolutely fantastic. Again, is this one that you guys have heard of? Is this? Am I bringing news to you?
No, this is
all news. But it does. The synopsis sounds very similar to a pornography film that I once.
Wow. Anyway, moving on. You must have heard of this one, guys.
I have heard this one.
Yeah. This particular cover. So this is the graphic novel cover, and this was I think this was maybe the second or third issue of this book, and it goes for absolutely crazy money. This I think it's like a 1 in 25 if I'm not mistaken, and this was nominated for the 2015 GLAAD Awards for most outstanding comic, and this all centered around a meme. So a meme is an idea that starts with an individual and then virally spreads to multiple persons and potentially entire societies. Richard Dawkins suggests a meme success comes from its effectiveness to be the host, but history shows the destructive memes can spread just as rapidly through society. Mimetic shows the progression of a weaponized meme that leads to the utter annihilation of the human race within 72 hours. The root of this apocalypse is a single image on the internet, a meme in the popular sense, a meme that changes everything. Again, this isn't one I've read, but it's definitely going to be one that I pick up as a trade because it just sounds crazy and out there, and it'll be really interesting to see. Yeah, it does, absolutely. Eric Donovan is the artist on this, and I know that looking back on previous work that he's done, he's worked with Eric quite often, especially back in the early days. So yeah, that's Mimetic, definitely worth picking up. Tom, what's your favourite Tynion books?
Tynion?
Yeah.
I'd probably go with something that's killing the children, mate, to be perfectly honest. I do like it. I do like the early part of his Batman run. I'm not keen on it at the moment. I didn't really enjoy the Joker War. I thought it was a bit meh. But the build up to the Joker War was pretty good.
Cool.
He's had some great moments, you know, in Batman. I think Batman's such a hard beast to kind of get right, and I honestly think the best Batman stories are ones where everything's stripped away in terms of continuity and stuff. And I'd kind of love to see James Tynion kind of run riot on a Batman story that doesn't have to be set in that kind of wider DC continuity that, you know, the stuff is at the moment. But what I like about his work is it seems ballsy, you know, like he's kind of not afraid to bring in characters like Miracle Molly and Punchline into the Batman mythos. And Something is Killing the Children is, you know, I just think back to when you first experienced some of those pages, you know, with kids being bloody ripped in half and God knows what. Like his work is so bold and so kind of creative, and it, for me, one of the things I love about him is his grasp of speech. I feel like his speech always flows really well. You know, the conversational pieces between characters always seems very kind of fluent and stuff. Alex, how are you feeling about James coming over? Are you excited? Are you looking forward to him as a guest?
Yeah, I've actually got his Batman run myself, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully get some time, maybe get him signed. But yeah, no, I have to agree. The Joker wasn't too much my cup of tea either towards it. It was kind of all buck and no bang, so I say. Like it just, yeah. I think it's just more the Joker for kid though. We've had a lot of Joker, we've had a lot of it in recent years. So I just think it's just he's got a good story to tell with Joker. It's just poor timing more than anything else for me. Just read something fresher, something a bit different, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I just think I speculate that there were other forces behind decisions where he couldn't commit to things. So certain characters being shot and not killed, for example, you know. I don't know how much of that was him. We've got, is there any other books, Andy, or is that?
That's us, mate. I just picked it through.
No, it's great. And it's nice to hear about these things that, you know, because, yeah, people only sort of know him obviously at the moment for that kind of Batman and that Something is Killing the Children, whereas he clearly was very established and respected before that, and that's what's kind of got into that position. So really nice to kind of get that insight. A couple more questions before we let you go, Alex. G, my friend Peter here has asked if CGC at Thought Bubble to witness signatures.
Oh, not by my knowledge. Not by my knowledge, no.
I don't think they are. I think I looked into that, and I don't think they are, unfortunately.
I can speak to Stuart if you like and find out.
Who's Stuart?
He's one of the guys who works at CGC London.
Yeah, Tom, you can't just drop names in like we all know who Stuart is.
So I was thinking he meant Stuart from Thorvald, because we've got Stuart too.
Oh, yeah, Stuart. Oh, Stu-Dog. S-Dog. Yeah. Andy.
Yes, sir.
You look like you were going to say something, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if CGC aren't there in any capacity, then it certainly seems as if it's a missed opportunity for them. Because that's the one thing that I particularly love about Thought Bubble is the access that you get to the writers, the artists, the creators. It's just a lot different feeling than it is to go to an MCM or one of the, you know, almost like plastic conventions where it's more it's less about the comics. You'll be hard pressed to find a comic in the place. So yeah, I think they should definitely look into that if they've not already.
Oh no, I'll probably add that to a list of recommendations and stuff. We're open to more feedback from the public every year. We try and get some surveys done from customers and stuff to try and get that sort of stuff, so I'll pass it along. But it's one thing that we'll just strive for is like trying to be a convention for the artists and for the medium. They've strived really hard to make sure merchandising stuff is kept separate and tried to minimal at best. Hence why we've got such a plethora of like indie and big artists mixed together throughout all the halls now. They've pushed for that throughout everything, even pushing like the Wacom thing with recent years and spreading out into more indie, mixing up with now Comicsology, now having a major influence with us. They're just trying to purely stick to the art and medium rather than merchandising and such.
It's so good that they do that, because the big cons like the London Comic Con and the Birmingham Comic Con, they're just so festered with stuff that has nothing to do with comic books. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you look at like the MCMs and you look at the Comic Village, and I've talked to people within the Comic Village and then who have had a Thought Bubble stall, and it's just they recognise the difference between like even from like the staff point, the people that come, like we volunteer and we get people from all around the world, from different countries every year, and it's like we're here to help you guys facilitate your love and your passion here at this convention, and like we're saying with the guests, we're here to help you enjoy yourselves. So like it's all like noted that we're all here for the same agenda, and it's no one feels like, oh, they're just paid to be here, they're just doing it for the thing. As soon as they realize like we're volunteers, like, oh, well, wow, this is a lot more than we'd expect from someone doing just a volunteer work.
Well, cool. I was going to ask you before you sign off to sell Thought Bubble and to tell the people why it's the place to be, and you have literally just done that in the best words possible. So Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We need to hang out again soon because it's been too long, my friend. And I feel like if we hold that in until the Saturday night of Thought Bubble, things could be very, very dangerous concoction.
We're having it's karaoke now, guys. This is it now. You've set a standard. It's going to be on now. Like
that's my feedback. Karaoke.
Alex, people only come on YouTube to plug things. So is there anything or anyone or plug away, my friend?
Oh, well, just Thought Bubble itself, guys. If you want to join us, we do have an open volunteering thing. It's volunteer at thoughtbubblefestival.com. We are looking for anyone and everyone. We take anyone to join up from like young ages to old. Doesn't really matter what fan you roll at Super Bowl. Otherwise, you'll find me at Bowel Effects if you have any questions or like that. Otherwise, if not, I'll be the ginger blur you'll see running around the convention all weekend.
You literally can't miss him, guys. You cannot you cannot miss him. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for giving us our time. It's been a really great insight into behind the scenes of Thought Bubble and all of the hard work that you and the fellow volunteers do. Thank you very much. Kids, say goodbye.
Thank you, Alex.
See you later, mate. Come in.